Today I'm going to look at Google My Business errors and 7 tips that will help you avoid suspension. So thanks for joining me. Hi, I'm Zane from Zanet Design, and I help businesses grow on the internet. So if you want to gain from my experience of 20 years as a web designer and improve your business presence online, then you'll enjoy these videos. So make sure you subscribe and also click the alert button for updates when the next video is released. So let's just take this thought then about making mistakes. First of all, everyone makes mistakes. I think that's fair to say. Albert Einstein once said that anyone who's never made a mistake has never tried anything new. So we all make mistakes. So we're going to look at 7 mistakes that probably some people have made and then had to learn the hard way. In most cases, quite a few people have had accounts suspended because of making some pretty basic mistakes. So we're going to go through each one, and hopefully by the end of this lesson, you will either identify what mistakes got your account suspended, or you'll be able to identify how to avoid making the mistakes that have caused that. So let's take the first one. The first one is the one that probably spammers and SEO people use the most to try and gain traction. And it has a massive impact on getting your local business right to the top very quickly. But be aware, it often leads to suspension of the account a few months down the line. And that is a spammy name. So when it comes to the name of your company, it'd be very tempting to put in the town or city you're trying to rank in, and it'd be very tempting to then add to that maybe some descriptive words that people would search for. So for an example, if you were a hairdresser's and you were in the Melbourne area, then you might say Hairy Hairdresser Melbourne as your business name. But actually, if you've registered your business name as Hairy Hairdresser only, and your website is hairyhairdresser.com, there's no mention of Melbourne other than the fact you're based in Melbourne. And so in some ways that could be considered misleading because you're saying that's part of your company name. And you're doing it particularly because people, when they're searching in Melbourne, may put hairdresser in Melbourne. And you'd probably come up number 1 with that type of title. Is it wrong? Well, you can look at Google's guidelines and you'll see that really the business name should be the business name alone. People are reporting this as being spam if you're not careful. So make sure that you look at your title, look at your business name when you register it, and make sure it's relevant to exactly the business that you are. And you can rest assured that often suspension occurs because people have reported a name several times and Google's trying to avoid any spamminess. So avoid having the wrong title that's not really consistent with other business references. Google knows that if you registered your address and your name of your company with other indexes and it's different to what you've registered with them, then their robots pick that up straight away. And when that combines with people reporting it, then obviously that makes a big difference. So avoid that. That's the first one to avoid, and probably one of the biggest ones that SEO guys are doing to gain traction, but it isn't the right way to go. So the second one to avoid, the second Google My Business error, is that of locations. So if you have a shop and it's located in a city, then put the address in there and you will get business locally to that address. But some people have realised that if they can have several locations, they can then spread their net, as it were, and get more fish. Is that acceptable? Well, Google doesn't see it correctly that way. In fact, if you want to cover a wide area, then first of all, make sure that your website suggests that you cover those areas. And secondly, if you're a service, then you can actually pick the area that you cover. So for me, I cover a couple of counties, Dorset and Hampshire. And so that kind of spreads my net out further to gain further fish. Unfortunately with that, it tends not to be so niche in the area that I am, in the Bournemouth area. And in a similar way for you, really stick to your office, stick to your surrounding areas. If you've got a shop in the high street, then that's your location. Now, if you have several shops in the high street in different areas, that's fine. You can have several locations. There's no harm with that. So a lot of the nationals will have various sections, like say estate agents will have various agents throughout the country. Well, that's fine, you can do that. So it's just there's a big difference between having multiple locations for one business in one shop and having several locations, because you generally have those as locations. So just discern between the two, get it correct, don't make that mistake, and you won't get a suspension. The third area I want to look at is just posts. Now, when it comes to using posts and blogging, I think we've seen that you can post once a week and it will remain and it will show on your listing. So you'll find that when you go through listings, most people don't have any posts at all there, or no offers to show. And often it's because with a post in particular, if it's a What's New event, it'll only last for 7 days. So every 7th day you need to post. And if you do that, it will gain you traction with your Google My Business. But the error that we're looking out for here is to keyword stuff. So if you are a hairdresser in Melbourne, then don't keep saying I'm a hairdresser in Melbourne and I'm a Melbourne hairdresser and say it 7 or 8 or 9 times in a row. Because even though Google might go, well, this is great, you're a Melbourne hairdresser, it soon picks up, this isn't relevant, this isn't really helpful. If a person saw this, they would just say you're stuffing it with keywords. Keyword stuffing is something that really was done many years ago for SEO purposes. And what it actually means is you just keep repeating the same keyword again and again, same expressions again and again and again, just so that you get found in the search engines. What you're thinking of there as a priority is a search engine. You're not actually thinking about the person who's reading it. And so people won't take it seriously. So don't keyword stuff when it comes to your posts. Mistakes do happen, of course. Thomas Edison said that he tried, 2,000 times he tried for a particular element to use for a light bulb. His assistant said, we've wasted our time trying to find 2,000 filaments for this light bulb. But Thomas Edison said, no, we haven't. What we've done is we've learnt 2,000 filaments that aren't any good, that are useless for a light bulb. He saw it really as a case of they'd improved by gaining knowledge. And I think that's sometimes a way to look at these errors that you can make in Google My Business, that you won't make them again and you can learn from them. Because ultimately, Google eventually will rid spam as best as it can when it comes to these listings. So my theory and what I'm trying to teach you guys is to always try and do things the right way, methodically. And in that way, you'll be there for the long term rather than the quick gains that some spammers are doing. So just bear that in mind when I go through these points. Now, point number 4 is adding photos. And I've mentioned before about the importance of adding photos, geotagging them, making sure they're accurate to what you actually present in your business, and make it so that it's useful for your visitors, so that they can see more about the industry you're serving, the products you produce, where your office is, how your staff work with you. All those things are important to gain traction. Now, photos bring in probably the biggest chunk of traffic. So if you add photos, then you'll find you increase your traffic. When they looked at the top 3 in the N.A.P pack, they found that those that make the top 3 generally have over 100 images or photos added. And you can categorize your images as well. So look at adding some more images today, and that will improve. But where's the error here? Well, the error is the fact that some people take other people's images, they bring them in and they put them up there. Now, do you honestly think that Google can't tell the difference between one image and another? There's a whole search engine that runs just basically on how images look. Images can even be read by Google, so even if there's writing on there, it knows it. Certainly if you've got a copyrighted image, then remove it straight away. Because again, that's another reason why you may gain a suspension, is because you don't own the rights to those images. And Google doesn't like that. And Google can tell very quickly by the way it scans it, by its algorithms and so on, it knows when a photo belongs to someone else. So remove it, put up your own photos, get your customers to take photos too, and you won't go far wrong. The 5th area is that of reviews. Now, reviews are important, but as we've seen in some recent videos, they're not as important as they used to be. And the reason being is there are a lot of fake reviews around. So there's my 5th thing to consider as an error if you have a Google My Business listing, is asking for people to give you reviews when they don't know anything about you, or you're kind of giving them a motivation. I'll give you some money if you write me a review. That is breaking the laws or the rules that Google have put out there. So that's not a good enough reason. If Google gets a sniff of that, then you'll be suspended immediately. So make sure that you just ask genuine customers for genuine reviews. People that know you, people that have known your work, people that have said, I really enjoy seeing what you're doing. Ask them to then give you an honest review. And funny enough, even a 5.0 review isn't as good as a 4.8, for example. So Google kind of knows that people don't always give perfect scores. So you may find that if you get the odd bad review, as long as you got on the whole good reviews, then Google quite likes the look of that. So there's the error, is don't ask for fake reviews. Don't offer, say, incentives for reviews. Google will pick up on that, and Google will consider if you have more than a few fake reviews, you could get your account suspended. The sixth area we're going to look at is that of categories. Now, you may look at the various categories and think, well, this one seems to give me better traction. This one seems to have more of a niche. There's not many people in this market. But if it's not that relevant to your business, then being in the top 3 on something that's not that relevant to what you do isn't really a good idea at all. And the reason being, it's a mistake in the sense that people then, customers, will phone you up and say, well, you said you can do this service, and then you then say you can't do it. That's not going to get you good reviews, and you won't grow. So in some ways, think about your customer. Think about what is it you do that you offer? What's your primary category there? And then put the two together, marry the two up, and make sure that you've then got a good listing based on that. Now, categories do change from time to time. Google's always updating them. So you may want to just go in and just see what a competitor's doing from time to time. Is there been an updated category that I've missed out on? And as much as you set your primary category, make sure then you have some secondary categories if that's what you do, if that's a service you offer. So just keep an eye and make sure that you don't put the wrong category, because again, that won't be a particularly clever error to make. The seventh area is an error that often happens. It probably won't get you suspended, but it's not going to help your listing grow up the rankings. And it's that of, I've often spoke of N.A.P, N.A.P, name, address, phone, and includes a website as well. Google is able to scan all the other indexes too. So it goes to Yellow Pages, it goes to the index of your local paper, it goes to the national papers where they have indexes, it goes to all sorts of other indexes like Bing as well, and it knows what they have about your business. It's entitled to know that. And if it sees what it has about your business isn't the same as what Google has, what does it think? Well, it thinks that you're probably faking what it is that you've said in the listing information. So make sure that everything's consistent. Make sure your phone number's consistent, your address, your shop, everything about it, the name, the business name, all those things. If they've got a consistency, then that will go well with Google. If they're inconsistent, Google thinks that maybe something's been changed for perhaps some manipulating or spamming and so on. And it will just consider that even the slightest of change, and I've covered this in one of my videos, where even, for instance, if you have a road, you may put it as RD, as an abbreviation on one listing, and then you've got it as road, ROAD, on another one. Well, Google just doesn't quite get that yet. It sees that as an inconsistency. So there are plenty of tools you can use. I've covered some in my videos recently, where you can just see how am I viewed by all the other indexes. What are the citations around me saying about my business? And just check to make sure that everything's nice and accurate. That's the last one I'd leave with you, except also just as a bit of a bonus, if you do notice, and this is a tricky one because I don't like people that are spamming. I feel it's unfair on other companies that are trying to do the things the right way, and then people come along and they just leapfrog because they do things to manipulate the search engines. So I think majority of genuine businesses just want to be fair. But there is this thought, and again, this is debatable really, whether you feel comfortable with this or not. But if you notice that someone's leapfrogged you, a competitor, and they've done it by using keyword stuffing, or they've done it by using one of these things that we've mentioned, then there is a facility there to report them to Google. Now what that does, it doesn't suspend them, but it just gives Google the heads up that this isn't really acceptable. And if Google feels it's not acceptable too, well, then they can ask them to edit it or to change it. So it's not kind of that harsh. It doesn't suspend your competitors. But what it does do is it just puts an alarm or alert. So you can report or you can report a business on Google quite easily. And I think I'm fair in saying that it's confidential, so I don't think it means that anyone would know who did it. If you are not comfortable with that, then I understand. If you are comfortable with that, well, then it's just there to be aware of. Personally, I don't do it because I feel that there are others that will do that. But at the same time, I think it's worth knowing if that's your type of thing, particularly if someone's really deliberately spamming away. It's very unfair on those that are making a real genuine effort to do the right thing. As you'll notice in all my videos, I'm trying to do exactly what the right things are, following the rules, doing the right thing, and hopefully that's going to benefit your business in the long term, not the short-term gains that some videos offer. So thanks for joining me. And if you want to know more about Google My Business as an expert, as an intermediate, then enjoy these videos now.